Hey everyone, it's Alan Brochstein from Houston, Texas, and from New Cannabis Ventures and 420 Investor. Very happy to be with you today. Why? Because life is great. Okay, maybe not all the time if you're a cannabis investor, but as I'm going to write about, I think, for our newsletter tomorrow, uh, I'm seeing some signs of the bottom. I've been talking to my subscribers at 420 Investor about because I was out early in June talking about how the second half would be better, and it felt great in July and August, and then September. But I'm pretty sure I understand now what happened. The big bad bear bit, and the S&P 500, and I'm pretty sure that what I've been saying is right. That once we get through earnings season, people are going to be more inclined to look at and maybe invest in the space. So with that, I want to go over this week. So I think the big story this week was that there were 5 cannabis elections where 5 states that are legal for medical cannabis voted to legalize potentially for adult use. 2 of the states, like marijuana, they start with an M, Maryland and Missouri, they passed, but the others didn't. Arkansas did not. South Dakota did not. North Dakota did not. So it sounds bad, right? Oh man, nobody wants cannabis anymore. So the truth of the matter is all 5 of these states are pretty tiny. I don't think it matters one way or the other, honestly. There's so many more important things to worry about. And that was really the news of the week, kind of, right? The real news of the week was earnings season. And I was really busy before this week, really busy during the week. And I shared a lot of things with my subscribers. I think 7 articles this week. And just in order, I always put out 3 on Friday summaries. And I did that last week. I also did it yesterday. But in the newsletter that this video is based on, I included the ones from Friday a week ago. And those would be the 420 Investor Weekly Review, which there's a link to in the summary of this video, as well as the 420 Investor Model Portfolio composition that compares the 2 of my model portfolios with the Global Cannabis Stock Index, and then a weekly chart review that breaks down the market by subsector and within the subsector's market cap. So I don't think you should compare Curaleaf to Body and Mind. They're not the same. Their investors are different. The companies are different. So I break down the MSOs into 4. I break down the LPs into 3. I even break down the ancillaries into 2, the non-financial ancillaries. So those were, the normal. What was different? Well, I had 3 earnings report previews, and I'm not going to go over them, but basically 16 or so companies that reported either last week or that will report Monday. And that was number 4, 5, and 6, those 3 reports. And then 7th, I wrote about Terrascend for my subscribers is one of the 3 feature articles in the monthly newsletter that I publish. That's really for people that aren't trading, they're maybe investing, and they don't want to pay attention to all the information I put out, but once a month they like to get it. So you can sign up for that. It's only $200 a year. And so that was it for my writing. What about the news that came out? Well, I always spend a lot of time going over the news. There was a lot of news this week, and I'm going to cut back and keep this a little bit shorter by just telling you, read the piece that this is based on if you want the news. Ascend, the news was about their Q3. Aurora, the news was about their Q3. Air, the news was about their Q3. Are you getting the drift here? A lot of Q3 reports. CEA announced, Columbia Care announced a new dispensary in Richmond, Virginia. They're fifth in the state. CEA announced a partnership with Hydrobuilder Holdings. Who's that? Well, Hydrobuilder is probably going to be a public company, and they're very similar to GrowGen. The next one is Cannabis Growth, and they reported their Q2. You can read about my comments there. Kronos reported their Q3. Cureleaf reported their Q3. Charlotte's Web announced a new European distributor, and I took Fire and Flower off my focus list, but they had some news that I published. I made that decision last night. But before I made that decision, I included them in. So they're opening up 6 more stores in Ontario with Couche-Tard. Woo! Hydro Farm had a Q3 that was better than expected. GrowGen exploded last week. I wrote about GrowGen for my subscribers at the end of June, calling it out as a good company, and I kept them up to date on it as well. Lowell had a miss, but I explained to my clients at 420 Investor, and also in this newsletter, what happened. So if you want to know what happened to Lowell, read the link that I'm including in the summary to this video. MAPS reported Q3 as well. The stock crashed to a new low before recovering big time. It was down a lot during the week, though, after making a new all-time low. The next one's Planet 13, and they had a disappointing Q3. State House Farms, which used to be Harborside, State House Holdings, sorry, which used to be Harborside, made an announcement about some new products in California. Trulieve had a disappointing Q3. Tilt Holdings announced a deal with Cureleaf International for a vaporizer in Europe, and I thought this was important for the company. They announced Coda Signature is a new client initially in Massachusetts very soon, and then in Ohio. Now, I don't have anything to do with Coda Signature, so I can tell you I love Coda Signature. And if they were a client or something, I have to be careful. Do I want them to be a client? Well, maybe, but I don't think they would be a client just because I said that, because I wouldn't say that if they were a client of New Cannabis Ventures. But I think that's very important. And if you've ever had a Coda Signature product, you know what I'm talking about. Then Tilray, well, I have some news here. This is, if you really know this already, you shouldn't be listening to me because you already know enough. But they are buying Montauk Brewery, a New York-based craft beer maker, and nobody knew the price because they didn't disclose it except in an SEC filing. And the price was 1.7 million shares, or about $5 or $6 million. I don't know exactly what it was, but the other news that you don't know probably, unless you own Tilray, and you might be alerted to this, but Brendan Kennedy, who I'm not going to tell you what I think of him because it's not nice to say bad things about people, and I'm not going to tell you that. But he sold 350,000 shares recently at, let's see if I can tell you the price, at $3.78. He still owns a lot. You can read the write-up for what he owns. He's got a plan. He's just selling. And I don't think that's wrong, by the way. But that's just my view. urban-gro had a quarter that was ahead of their expectations, but it was way down from where it's been. And the stock kind of pulled back a little bit on it. And then Village Farms reported, and it was kind of a miss. And I listened to that call, and management sounded really beaten up. And I had trimmed in my model portfolios ahead of the report. Why, I don't know. As I told my subscribers, it's better to be lucky than smart. And but I still had a position, and I was bummed when it made a new all-time, not an all-time low, but a post-cannabis low. But I bought, and then I sold up a lot. So I still own it, but I was able to trim very nicely. And that's it for the news of the week, and I'm at 11 minutes now, and I want to tell you about the market, and I'm going to talk more about this publicly soon, but you may care what the market's going to do, and I was wrong to be so bullish in June, although it felt right in July. My model portfolios were up over 20%, and then in August, I was up a little while the market was down a little, but in September, oh my God, it was terrible. And so the global cannabis stock index this week was up 4.7%. Sounds great, right? Well, the S&P 500 was up even more, unfortunately. And yeah, the S&P 500 was up more, 5 and change, and it's up 3.2% in November compared to our index, the global cannabis stock index, being up only 1.1. So we're lagging the S&P 500. But what I'm spending a lot of time talking to my clients at 420 Investor about is if the S&P 500 goes into a big bad bear again, it's not good for our sector. But on the other hand, if we're going to rally, it's probably good. And you know, one of the big names this week was Scotts Miracle-Gro, and I did point out to them, I had a position, I sold it, but I pointed out to them that Scotts Miracle-Gro would really do well if the overall market did well, because it's not just a cannabis stock. But anyway, I'm getting off track. Where we are year to date is down 59.5%. That's terrible. And it's not going to be the worst year ever if we close here, but it's going to be really bad if we close here. I think we could do better. But I'm not get back to even, I don't think. I'm not really betting on that, but I don't think we can. Now, I run some model portfolios, and before we get to the close, which is the earnings reports this week, which I'm going to just mention that you can find them, I do want to talk about each of the model portfolios. So Flying High, which is down 44.1%, I think, year to date. 41.1% year to date. That's not good. It's a lot better than the market has done at 59.5% loss. But my job is to make money, and no, this year it's going to be my worst year ever, probably no matter what. And I'm not happy about that, but I was long and wrong. And because I was long and wrong, it doesn't mean not to be long now. So, but you know, more for most of you, I run the other two model portfolios, 420 Opportunity and 420 Quality, a little bit differently from one another, but right now they're pretty much the exact same. Same 14 names, fully invested, and in about the same percentage for each name. If you care to learn what the differences are, if you join 420 Investor, it's pretty easy to learn what the difference between the two model portfolios are. 420 Opportunity this week lagged. It was only up 3.5%. I have a lot of maps in that one. And in year to date, though, it's doing better than the index, the Global Cannabis Stock Index. It's down 50, let's see where that is, 50, 52.6% year to date. That's a lot better. It doesn't make me really happy because I'd like to do even better than that, but I am happy that with the tragedy I went through this year, that I'm still managing to beat the index. And so in Q3, do I have that? It's up, I think, 18.7%, which is just a little bit better than the index. If you can believe, the index is up 18.6%, I think, in Q3, mainly because of October. Remember, we had the Biden bounce and then the canopy growth lift. And then 420 quality, which was down 14.8% in Q3 when I was bullish. That one is up 18.7% in Q4 thus far. So I told you that 420 quality, 420 opportunity, was up 18.7. In fact, it's better than that, 19 and change. It's written up in the piece that I linked to. But 420 quality is down almost the exact same as 420 opportunity year to date, and that's ahead of the global cannabis stock index. So I'd like to conclude with just a reminder that this is pretty much the end of earnings season. If you don't understand the drivers of earnings season, if a company is an SEC filer or a TSX filer, they have essentially till November 14th to report Q3. And November 14th is Monday. But if they're not, or NEO too, if they're not on those exchanges, if they're on the CSE or the OTC or TSX Venture, they can wait till almost the end of November. So there will be more reports. You can look at New Cannabis Ventures to find a calendar that has the remaining reports. Almost all the ones that are scheduled would be on the 14th or the 15th, the calls. And I'm just going to tell you, there are a lot early in the week. There's also one on Thursday as well. And you can refer to either the New Cannabis Ventures calendar to find out exactly, or you can read the link, click the link and read the write-up that I base this on. So with that, I'm going to wish you a happy week and a happy Thanksgiving for those of you that don't catch me next week. I am very thankful, not only for you listening, but for surviving my accident that I survived, and for getting new teeth, and for really being happier than I've ever been. I'm very grateful. And I'm grateful to my 420 investor members that have stuck with me despite my being gone for 2 months. And I'm grateful to you for tuning in. Take care. Have a great week.